Welcome, YouTubers. This is Queen Zai. I'm coming at you to talk to you about. One second. Yeah, I'm coming at you live to talk to you about African spirituality, a hoodoo practice. It's some common mistakes that beginners make. If you're going to be practicing magic, it is always a good idea to cleanse yourself. Before all your tools, during, keep your sage burning, are your cleansers burning throughout your rituals. When you get done, you want to sage yourself as well as the area. I'm really going off the top of my head because I gotta put this work in. Like, my spirit guides have been egging me to get started, so I'm just going off the top of my head with a lot of information and common mistakes that I've seen in the spiritual world. Number one is sage yourself. Always cleanse yourself. Cleansing is very important. Number two, whether you're working with a deity or an ancestor or a religious, like Christ Jesus, or any other type of Buddha, or any type of deity in Orisha or whatever, the number one thing you want to do before you even start working with them is you want to establish a relationship with them. Meaning you want to do openers to them. You want to give them offerings. You want to ask them for permission to work with them. You want to wait to see if they're gonna answer you and work with you. I see a lot of people, they just pick a deity and they just start working with it. And the number one thing that I'm seeing since I've been working with my deity is you got to go in the order of command, especially when you're working with Orishas. I know a lot of people a lot of women are drawn to Oshun and, or Chango, or Yemaya, or whatever the different deities are. And it's nothing wrong with being drawn to them, but there is an order. It's just like when you go in a courthouse or in a business establishment, you got to go through a chain of command to get to a manager or the owner. It's just not there for your convenience. And the same thing with deities. One of the main concepts in any type of spirituality is as above, so below. So when we understand that there is a divine order that we must be in, then we fall in line, and the respect is perceived because we fell in line. So that's another way to give respect and reverence to your deities, is to go in a chain of command, especially if you're working with Orishas. Now, if you're working with ancestors, I would ask that you still do a door opener. You invite them in, you welcome them, you let them know that they're going to be working with you and you're going to be working with them, and you need their assistance, and you'll be able to reward them for their assistance. And it's going to be things that you in the physical world can assist them with. Sometimes it may be offerings. Sometimes it may be they might want you to relay a message. I advise anybody working with Orishas or ancestors, I advise any of you guys to work with them to better your life first. And if you want to pick it up and do it for monetary gain, then there is still a process. First of all, get all the knowledge, because you don't know who you're going to encounter. And if you don't have the right knowledge, you can set yourself up for a failure. That brings me to number 3. Anytime you're doing any type of spell work or candle magic, love magic, anything like that. Sorry, somebody was calling my phone. But anytime you're doing anything like that, like candle magic or spells, jar work, anything like that, you always want to consult with your orishas or ancestors first. On top of that, you always want to ask, is this something you should do? Because a lot of people are putting, war jars out here and love spells and entangling themselves to people spiritually and getting themselves all caught up spiritually. So there is a divine order of process that you want to go through before you do any spell work. And I know sometimes we get caught up in emotion. We feel like the only way to fix this is a spell, but sometimes the work ain't on other people. Sometimes the work is on you yourself. So always evaluate your position in totality before you go out there and start putting spells on other people. And a second part to the spell work and putting it out there on other people, be careful who you solicit to do spell work for you or the spell work that you take on to do for other people. Because again, karma, the wheels of karma does take a part in all of this. You can be putting a spell on somebody right now that's going to have to come back to you years from now, and you're going to have to undo that spell. See, a lot of people do love spells and then they break up and they don't bind themselves to that particular individual, and it's just a cluster fuck of just bondage, and so every time you put a spell out there, that is bonding itself to you. That's what spell work is, in a sense. It's like, okay, this is what's in my mind, so I want to manifest it, so it's here. So once it's here, it's yours because you manifested it. So it's just like a possession, and that's why it can be a form of bondage. So you want to be very careful of who you do spell work to, on, or for, and vice versa. You want to be careful who you allow to do spell work and magic for you. A lot of point 4, know your deities. Know what deities you identify with. A lot of people just pick deities because it worked for other people, and that's not always true. I'm in this Facebook group. I'm not going to say the name of the group because I'm not going to give them any credit, but I see people on there like literally like just asking questions, being disrespectful, showing pictures of their altars, and showing pictures of their candle magic or the remnants of their spells. Even that could be disrespectful because your intention is for it to work. So if you're putting it out there before it has an opportunity to work, you chance somebody else, spirit, sabotaging your magic because you don't know who's watching you. So be careful of that. I'm one of those people. One of the scriptures in the Bible, which is a great reference point for any type of magic, the Bible says that take up your alms in private and God will reward you openly. So what that means, alms is like your charities or your workings. Do that in the private. Do it behind closed doors. Don't let nobody else see it. Don't let nobody else touch it. And when your magic begins to manifest, then if you feel compelled to still share, you're able to do that. But make sure it works before you start sharing it. The other thing is how you discard your magic. A lot of people just feel like, oh, okay, I could just throw this stuff away. No, I suggest that you find ways to discard your magic. There are plenty of videos out there that I've watched about discarding magic in waterways, rivers, oceans, burying it, burning it, taking it to the crossroads. Whatever your intention is, I think that's how you should get rid of it. For an example, if I want to bring something to life or bring life to something, I would probably put it in the water because water is life, even according to the Bible. Like, water is life. You can't have a plant and not water it and expect for it to live. So to me, things that I want to bring to life, I would put in the water. Things that I want to bury or kill or end, I probably would bury maybe in like a graveyard. Things that I want to like seeds I want to plant, like I want to manifest money or something like that, I would probably dig a hole and bury that in my yard. And things like that. Negative spells with negative, like revenge spells, anything like that, I would definitely take far away from my house. But I would still either discard it through either burying it in the woods, allowing it to rot in the middle of the woods, taking it to the river or the waterways or whatever. That's another common misconception. Let me tell you, number 5 is get your spiritual supplies up. Yeah, when you start, you may not have all the money, all the supplies that you need to do a lot of these spells. But again, it's really intention versus ingredients and things like that. But you still want to have what it calls, you still want to have that recipe per se, because it's a reason why those herbs were picked or chosen. They do have special magical power. So that's the reason why you want to, make sure you grabbing the right herbs and stuff like that. But when you first start off, you might just only work with a candle or, the 4 elements, basic 4 elements, and as you evolve, you may have an eclectic variety of different herbs and incense and crystals and all kind of spiritual tools. But don't rush and don't worry. One of the number 1 staples I think people should have is white candles. White candles, white candles, white candles, white candles. Anytime you see white candles, pick them up. Tea light candles, great. Tapered candles are great. Pillar candles are great. Jar candles are great. White candles, white candles, white candles. I can't say white candles enough, because even when you're doing your negative spells, you always want to burn a white candle next to it. Even if you're doing passion, every candle, you always want to have a white candle burning next to it for purity, for peace, for protection. So you're always going to have a white candle burning. As far as like a cauldron or anything like that, I don't even have a cauldron right now. I've been doing spirituality about 5.5, 6 years, and I still don't have a cauldron. I still don't have the pedestal and mortar. I am real natural. I use stone. I grind my stuff up with real natural stone. I have a granite countertop that I use, and I use a real stone from outside. This that I found outside to grind up all my herbs. I'm more of a naturalist. I use a lot of basil. I use a lot of salt. Salt is really good, just for protection. I use ammonia. Again, like I said, I'm real old school with it. I use Psalms. I love Psalms. I read Psalms with just about it. It's Psalms. It's a Psalms for everything. It's a Psalms for everything. Recently, I used Psalms 25, Psalms 35, and Psalms 37. I kept reading those over a court case candle to have somebody released from jail, and that actually worked. That's a simple spell you could do. You don't really need herbs. You can always get stuff that's already infused with the intent. I love buying candles that's already infused with the intent. And the reason being is I don't have a lot of time. I'm on the go, constantly ripping and running, so if I can take shortcuts and buy stuff. But the other thing is, you want to still sage that candle. If you buy anything that's, let's say you buy a money candle or a packet for, a money mojo or a love mojo or a protection mojo bag or something, you still want to take your sage. You still want to smudge it. You still want to run it through the smoke. You still want to pray over it and set your intentions. And you still want to remove any negative intentions. And you remove the negative intentions first. You pass it through the smoke. You remove the negative intentions. And then you implant the positive intentions that you want in it. But that's a lot easier than going and getting a candle, finding all the herbs, the oils, the recipes, taking the time. This spiritual thing takes time. I remember I did a uncrossing ritual. I think it took about 4 to 5 hours. Like, it's not fast. And you're not going to be able to drive through, but you can cut some of your time down by, like I said, using candles. There's a lot of vendors out here that, have candles and mojo bags, so you don't have to, actually do those things. But again, it's your preference. I have friends that want to, you know, make their own candles, and you know, that's really up to you. But just know it's no fast way to do this, and you're not gonna be able to speed through things as you would think. The more time and effort you put in, the more you're gonna get out. If you just 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, you're only gonna get 5 minutes. You put 100% in, you're gonna get 1,000% back, and that's just 100% honest. There's there's a few books you should be trying to get. Always get literature. One of the things that my spiritual friends fuss at me about a lot is that I have a few books, but my book collection is quite slim, so I'm working on that. But books are always good to reference, because it may be a point, every day is going to be a point in your life on a spiritual path where you're going to see something that sparks your attention. It's going to hone to your spirit, and you're going to be like, you're going to pay attention to it, and you're going to want to look up what you paid attention to, because you want to, it's the signs that let you know your magic is working, and that you're connected, or where you receive your messages. So you're going to start paying attention to those signs, and some books will tell you signs. You need to get books on that. Everybody needs an all-purpose starter spiritual book that kind of teaches you the background, some basic facts, like basic spells, altar setups and things. I'm to be honest, I've been in spirituality, like I said, 5.5, almost 6 years, and within the last year I started working with altars, and I can tell you my life has changed dramatically, but in a good way. I've had some hard times as well, but overall the momentum of gaining is far greater than the losses that I've taken. So I can see where altars have power, and so you definitely want to you definitely want to have you an altar. Now, if you look behind me back here, I got a makeshift altar with the candle, the glass of water, the incense, and the earth. So I got water, fire, air, and earth. And that's usually the setup for you know, opening up the spiritual world and beginning to do your work. Even when I'm in the house, just, you know, like making this video, I have to set up and cleanse the area and make sure that the spirits that are coming through are positive, so that knowledge is gained. It's no sense in doing all of this and nobody's gaining, you're not gaining. It's just, you just doing stuff. My biggest advice to anyone, even if you can't do a permanent altar, like I said, you set up your 4 elements and you have your altar. Keep those elements, you know. You can use the same elements or you can change it. It just depends, but always have your altar. When you reading your tarot cards, you should have your altar going. You should have your altar set up. When you're thinking, when you're meditating, your altar should be up. When you're trying to be inspired by the divine, you should always just have your altar up. And what that does is create a space for the spirits to enter. And I tell people this: respect. Oh, I'm trying to turn my music back on. Respect your altar. And what I mean by respect your altar is this: when you got your altar up, don't be arguing. Don't be having sex and all that good stuff. you want to always respect your altar and treat it like you would as if you were at a church, you know, because that's your sacred space. That's your set aside place where the spirits come. And so you don't want to defile that, you know what I mean? You want to always honor it. You know, I have my altars actually set up in my closet because I have a small living space and I have children, well, teenagers, well, grown-ups, but whatever. And that way it's not disturbed. But when they come in to they're not even allowed to come in my room, but it is times when I need them to go in there, or my sister may come in, she needs to go in my closet, and I make them respect that. My stuff, my altar is there. That's where my ancestors are. That's where my orishas are. Don't go in there with all that negative energy or, you know, negativity or problems or anything. You go in there, you don't even look at it, and you move on. And because that's your sacred space, and whatever their intentions are, you don't know at the time. So they can be implanting negative energy, you know, or whatever. So I tell people to treat your altar as you would your the altar at the church. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't be having sex right in front of the altar. I mean, some people would, but I mean, hey, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're doing some type of sex magic, yeah. And I personally would stay away from sex magic until you get to a higher level. I don't think that sex magic is for beginners. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think blood magic is for beginners. And the reason why I say that is because you're invoking so much. Those are such powerful forms of magic. Like, it's not to be taken lightly. Like, I've never even done sex magic that I know of, you know what I mean? But there are people out here that do sex magic, you know what I mean? And not meaning, if you understand what sex magic is, it's not to make sex better. Sex magic is you're implanting your intentions for positivity or negativity through the use of sex. So it's a ritual that includes the sex. You feel what I'm saying? Or sex. Or masturbation. But like I said, I don't think personally that those two forms of magic is for beginners. But again, this is all my opinion. I am an uninitiated person, you know, priestess, so to speak. And I would not get involved in sex magic until I have a lot more knowledge. Now, if I got a couple books on sex magic and have studied it for a few months, yeah, maybe, but right now, no. The other thing is, you can't read one book and know everything. Like, I've wasted, and I'm not even going to say wasted, I've utilized, because the word use sounds so dirty and inappropriate, but I utilize so many hours of studying and reading and watching videos and you know, praying and meditating, and you know, so it didn't come easy. Like I said, I've been doing this now almost 6 years, and I'm still not moving faster, because at least when you're initiated, you got somebody to kind of guide you along, so you reach the promised land faster. But when you are self-initiated, sometimes you learn through error. Sometimes you learn through a real guide, you know, friends, conversation, enlightenment, and all kind of different things. But like I said, one reason why I'm self-initiated is just because financially, with some of these people charge is ridiculous, and I don't think you should charge for connecting to the Creator. If somebody wants to learn, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you want some, like if I was going for spell work, yeah, I want you, because I know how much time that take, rituals, I know how much time that take, but for you to, you know, when you got time to drop knowledge or, you know, spend a day with me and give me information, I don't think I should have to pay you for that, but that's just me personally. I didn't agree to it when I was in the church to pay tithes for the knowledge that every human should be freely entitled to, just like every human I feel should be freely entitled to unlimited water and air and electricity. But hey, another topic, another day. Let's see, what else? I know my video is getting kind of long, so I'm gonna say probably 1 or 2 more things, and then I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys. Every culture has orishas and deities, except for America. So when it comes to Americans looking for their deities and gods, I would tell you to go with whatever was in your bloodline. For an example, I'm African American, whatever that's supposed to mean, the legal term. But I'll go with African deities and Spanish deities because I know that I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and I know that my people were scattered to all 4 corners, but this is where my main people were mainly at, Africa in South America. So that's the reason for me going with African Americans. But I think that if you're white and you're watching this video, I think there are plenty of Caucasian deities that you can use, and vice versa. So not that we saying racism, but it's a reason why we had our own people, our own land, our own deities. And I think that once we embrace our true ancestral roots in worship, I think that we'll realign ourselves divinely, and things can start to manifest and the spirit be able to connect better. Now, that's just my personal feeling. Like some of these websites and things, I see black people, you know, dealing with like Saint Judah, Judas, or, you know, things like that, or Jesus, or you know, things like that. Me personally, I just think it's more power when you deal with your own, because your own has its own special love for you that's like so genuine, just like I said, as above so below. You know, family, you know, a mother's gonna love her child and be there for her child and her grandchild and her great-grandchildren, her great-great-grandchildren, and so on and so on. And she's gonna show not so much favoritism, but she's gonna show more comfortability and more favor to and towards those people. And I think that that is kind of reflective of the deities, and I think that's why we need to focus on the one deity. I meant the deities of our own cultures. One of the last things I want to say is I want to talk about the elements and how they interact with each other, because that's important. Because learn those elements and how they interact, how water is affected by fire, or vice versa, or land or earth is affected by wind and things like that. Because when you start into your spiritual world and you're reading your tarot cards, those elements, interactions have meaning, and they either offset, they either cancel each other out, offset, or magnify, or you know, amplify, you know, positive and negative. when you're doing spell work, ask questions. You know, for an example, if you're doing spell work on somebody, find out what their sign is, if there's a possibility that you can find out what their sign is. Because what if your signs aren't compatible? What if your elements aren't compatible, your personalities? And then here you go doing magic and you want your magic to work. But how can it when it was already set up to fail from the beginning, from the initiation of not planning properly? So all of those things affect your magic. And if you like this video and you want me to do more videos, I want you to subscribe. Click the subscribe button. And then if you want notifications of when I upload new videos, because this is the first of many videos, hit the notification button and the little bell. Click that and make sure that is illuminated red. And like I said, I'll be sending more and more videos out. This is the first of many. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you can share it, like it, share it, subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you. Till next time.